Hello friends, you're welcome to the uh, next tutorial in our Python series, and today we shall be looking at how you can test your Python code. Um, when you write a function or a class, you can also write tests for that code. So in this um, session, we shall be looking at how you can write a test for a function. In the next session, we will look at how we can write a test for a class. So Python has a module called unit test that helps to be able to build a test case and check a set of inputs in programs. So let's say we want to test a function, and the function is get formatted. It takes first and last name and it formats it accordingly with space between them, and it returns it in a title case. That is each letter of the word capitalized, the start letter. Okay, so now we are now writing a test case for that. Since we are testing a function, and a function is expected to perform a single task, so Python has the module unit test that verifies one specific aspect of the function's behavior to make sure it's correct. So we'll be writing a function that tests a test that verifies that our code, our function is working properly, is doing what it's supposed to do. Alright. So the name of that test code is test name function. So we import the Python unit test module that helps us to do that. From inside this function, we import the function that we want to test, which is get formatted name. And we create a class. We can name this class anything, but we inherit from the test case class that is inside the unit test module provided by Python. Now, the function that we want to use to test must start with the word test. Any other thing can follow. So we want to test this function that we have written. We want to test this function, so to make sure it's doing what we want it to do. So we supply the test using a sample example. So in the sample example, we have this name, and we call the function that we want to test, which is get formatted name. Then we use this assert equal that we inherited from the unit test case class that we imported to check whether what we expect our function to return is actually what it will return. This is the answer. So this is what we expect. So this is what the function will return. So this assert equal, we test whether it's the same. And this is we're not going to make use of this, but this is just being used when we need to do some automation. So you see what it's saying in that for the if block looks at a special variable name which is set when the program is executed. If this file is being run as the main program, the value of the name is set to this. So just to avoid that, when you import a file, the interpreter executes the file as it is being processed. So in order to avoid the file from being executed prematurely until you explicitly call it, you put this line of code there, so to make sure that it will only execute if you are actually calling it from the main.power. So you store this one inside main.power. If not, it will not execute. So that's just what that is saying. Okay. So the unit tests, the main method is actually inside the module unit test. Alright. So because we are not calling it from the main.power, then the block will not be executed prematurely. Okay, so let's see that in code now. So this is my code. You could see inside my file I have the two functions. I have the name function and I have the test name function. So this is the name and this is the test name. So this is a function that I want to test, and this is my test case, my unit test. So we have written the method that will test our function here, and we have supplied an example. So if this method passes, then the function, this is going to return true, this is going to be true, which is okay. If the function does not do what we want, then it's going to become false and return an error. Alright, so let's say that. So we say Python and we put tests, that's the name of the function. Okay, there's a syntax error somewhere in full name. So there's a syntax error. And line 3. Okay, what does it say? Okay. Oh, okay. So it's expecting us to use Python 3 to be able to work that. So that works okay. Yeah, you can see that ran okay. So this dot means that it's trying to run one test, and that one test ran okay. Alright, so let's break the code now. We now break the code to supply so what we want to do is that, let's go back here. So we want to run a failing test now. That is, we want our get formatted name, we want to modify our code to be able to undo middle name. Now once we do that, so we are replacing our code now with this. So this was what we have before. Now we are now replacing our code with this, and once we do that, this means that we have broken our code. Our code has been modified. Since we have modified our code, then we expect that the tests will no longer run correctly. And so let's say that. So we're going to run the test again. So we see that there was an error. It tells us that we actually ran one test and it resulted in an error. So one test was run and it resulted in an error. Okay, so and it gave us more information about that. So we have an error. It gives us what is happening in that error. Test first name. The names like this doesn't work, and it gives us more information about where the error occurred. So the point is, we have modified our code and our unit test has been violated. It's no longer working. So what do? The convention is you don't come into your test and modify your test. No. What you do is you modify your code to be able to make sure that your tests still run very well. That is the main concept we are trying to learn. You modify your code so that your tests will still continue to run. So how do we modify our code to ensure that our test, which was originally passed, will still continue to be passed? So what we now do is this. You can modify this code and say, okay, we already have this. So we say then, if, so to be able to help with that, what we do is we will change the signature here. That's the easiest way of modifying this, to be able to accept middle name, and we make the middle name optional. So, and we say that if there is a middle name, okay, so we return if there is a middle name, we make our full name to be this. Alright. If there's no middle name, so there's a middle name, we make our full name to be that. And we return the full name. Else, if there is no middle name, we make our full name to be without the middle name, and we return that. So you can see how we have made sure that we handled our code. So essentially, we work on our code to be able to make sure that our previously ran test that was okay continues to run okay. So we think about how we can modify our code in order to be able to handle the new functionality, as well as not to break the old functionality. And in this case, the best way is we add additional parameters and make it optional. If that parameter is there, then we return the first name, middle name, and last name formatted. If that parameter is not there, then we return the way it was before. Okay, so we can now come again into our code and try to run our tests, and you will see that our code has been modified to be able to ensure that our test continues to run okay. So then we have added additional functionality to our code. How can we test that additional functionality? So to be able to test that additional functionality, we come into our unit test code. Then we add another function to that will test that specifically. So we had another function that will test that. So this is the function we are adding now. Okay. So we had another function. So we call the name of that function test first middle. Don't forget that the name of our function inside the test case must start with test. So then we assert. So let's say this is Janice Mike. Now we have the middle name. So we try that. So get formatted, which is Janice. Then we have the middle name now, so which is Mike. Alright, so we look at, does it look like this? Because we expect the mic to be in the middle. So we have now modified our test case now to be able to test the new functionality that we just added to our code. So now we have two tests running. Remember, the key point is that we don't tamper with the existing test. We just keep adding new tests as we have modified our code, as we have extended our code. So let's now run our test again. So now we should be running two tests instead of one. So now you now see we now have two tests run okay, indicated by these two dots, and you now see that this is now okay. So let's say we now come here again, we modify our code. If we break our code now, and we now have our code is now taking maybe phone number. So if we modify this code and it's now taking phone number, so what do? We also come into this place and have another test function, separate test function for phone numbers. I hope you understand that. So we come into this place again and make sure that we have a test function that verifies the phone numbers. So that's what is happening here. That's just what is being mentioned here. What do you do when your test fails? you correct your code to make sure that the test is now working well, and you run the test again. You had an additional test to be able to test that, and you can now check. So the next one would look at how we can test our class. Thank you for listening. Hope somebody has benefited something from that. Do let us know what your comment are, and give us a like, and if you benefited, and consider subscribing for future update. Thank you, and see you in the next one.